This is episode 2 of recreating Minecraft inside of Unity. Well, let's get straight into it. So I realized using cubes is really laggy, so I went with a different approach, voxel data. Voxel data is kind of like a cube, but not a cube. It looks like a cube, but it's two triangles connected to each other, making it look like a cube. So you can basically see two rectangles can connect to each other, making it look like it's a cube. For short, it's called voxel data. Voxel data is way more than just two cubes connecting to each other, but it's too hard to explain, so that's all I can say. So I messed with voxel data for a little bit, and this is what I got, an untextured voxel chunk. Next, I figured out how to add texture to the voxel chunk. And the reason I'm saying chunks is because I'm going to make the voxel into a chunk. Next, I made it so it formed the whole chunk instead of just one block. Now I made it so you can select textures to put on each side of the block. Next I made it so different textures spawn on different Y of the chunk. Now I made it so chunks can spawn multiple at a time. And you can already see the performance being really well now with voxel chunks instead of normal blocks. So what I did here is I made it less laggy so it only showed the top and not the middle and the bottom voxel data. So I made it so the chunks are invisible, but when the camera moves around it lowers the chunks. Next I added noise. Not the noise that you hear, the noise like it makes bumps. To be honest, I'm still learning how noise works. I have no idea how noise works. And I also made it so the chunks disappear behind the camera. I made it so dirt generates underneath the grass. I made it so dirt and sand can spawn naturally around the map, but right now I'm going to add more stuff, but right now it's just dirt and sand. So for a reference, I just applied a mesh collider to spawn on every single chunk, and then I used the FPS controller that I downloaded on the Asset Store. So basically, this is what it's going to look like. But using a mesh collider is really laggy, so I'm going to do a different method. That's what I'm going to do now. This is just a reference. I mean, I could use mesh colliders, but like I said, it's really laggy using mesh colliders. After a long time, I finally finished the controller. So basically what it's doing is it's checking if the player camera is close to the ground, then it's going to stop making it fall. But when it's not close to the ground, then it's going to make it fall. So basically, it's pretty simple. Next, I added a debug screen like Minecraft has. Here I added a couple of things. I added a inventory and place blocks and dig blocks methods. The one thing I love about coding a game is you get to mess it up as much as you want because you know how you're going to fix it, and it's just fun to mess the game up. Look, like I messed up the textures. Next I added glass. The glass was a bit difficult because I needed to figure out how to make it so it's transparent and not mess up the other blocks, but I did it. So yeah. Now after a lot of work, I can finally build a house. This is a speed up version of me building this house. And this is the house. It looks pretty good. After I created all of these, I realized, why don't I just remake the whole thing? Because the other one's really bad. I can just remake it to make it better. Next I added trees to the game, but the trees are a little bit buggy, but it's alright, I'll fix it later. And the reason why the trees aren't transparent, they look really bad right now, so I just make them not transparent for now. Next I made it so the blocks in your inventory were stackable. Next I added a creative menu, so like you can grab items out and put them into your hotbar. So I've got way more blocks now, so I'm going to make another house and see how well I do. That is the house. It's way more improved with more blocks that I have. So I coded in a simple start method, but I'm going to add more methods for this later. After a lot of code, this is what I got. So I decided I'm just gonna make another house to end off this day. So I coded in another option to change the settings for the player. The next thing I coded in was a survival inventory. Next thing I coded was so you can change the game mode. Like, there's only two now, there's creative and survival. If you click creative, it shows the creative inventory. If you click survival, it shows the survival inventory. Next thing I coded in was a simple light system. The next thing I added was a simple shadow code. But as you can see, look at the back. Look how shiny and how, like, some are not showing up, and that's the next thing I'm going to fix. So after 4 hours, I fixed it. All I had to do was just change the texturing, and then it's fixed. Now it looks a lot like Minecraft, but the textures aren't completely finished. As you can see, they're not completely transparent. I need to fix that, and then it's good. The next thing I added into the game was iron and caves. The next thing I did is fix the shadows and a lot of stuff. I completely forgot what I fixed, but mainly I fixed the shadows. I know I said that I would add crafting this episode, but it got too long, so I will try adding crafting next episode.